Hi and welcome to today's podcast. My name is Matthew Toman and I'm the host of the show. Just before we jump into today's guest, I want to remind everybody that the Evolution of Success, our documentary, is now available for free from our website. So if you go on to www.theevolutionofsuccess.com, you will be able to stream the movie right now for free. I hope you enjoy the movie and I hope you enjoy today's guest. Hi and welcome back to the Evolution of Success podcast. On today's show, I'm joined by Tiberius. Tiberius is a personal development junkie and he also is just into so many different things with personal development and gets a big audience for his message and what he wants to do and what he wants to put out there. So Tiberius, thank you so much for coming on today.
It's a great pleasure, Matthew. Thank you for having me on it. And actually, this is my first podcast. Actually, no, my second, but I just got my equipment here, so I'm excited.
Brilliant. So you were actually, I went on live during the week with Tiberius on his Instagram page, which he's going to speak about at some point, I'm sure. And that was my first live as well. So the fact that this is your first or second podcast, that's great. So whenever we chatted on Skype last week, we were introduced by a really good friend of both of ours, Carl Moore. And we ended up jumping onto Skype and having a chat, and we chatted for 40 minutes to an hour. And I thought that your story was so interesting, and I thought it was very funny how you told it. So do you just want to tell the guys, all the listeners, how you got into law of attraction and how you sort of stepped into this PD, personal development space?
Well, in one way or the other, I think the law of attraction concept kind of found me as well. When I was 19, I moved to Bucharest from a small town in Romania. I needed to get a job. I got a job in video production. I was a driver and I would help set the setup when we would have shootings and recordings. And one day we were filming an interview with one of the wealthiest people in Romania. And for me, it was the first time I ever saw a wealthy person, a rich person, let's say a millionaire, right? And I just got fascinated with the fact that he came and he shook hands with everyone in the team. And I would usually be in the back, not really, interacting with anyone. But he came to me and he introduced himself, and that for me was pretty shocking because I was thinking, like all those ideas came up. Well, I thought rich people are arrogant. I thought rich people are, bad, and all that dogma we grow up with, and it wasn't the case. And while I was watching the interview, while we were filming, I was just fascinated with the guy's energy because I could just see him having a different energy. I could feel it. So after the interview, I asked my boss, and my boss told me, hey, if you watch the movie The Secret, then you can achieve anything you want. My boss told me, he said, I left my home when I was 14. And unconsciously, I pretty much guided myself through these principles to become successful. And he was fairly successful here in Bucharest. And as you can imagine, I went home and I watched The Secret. And back then, I was sharing a room with a friend that wasn't doing good business. Like, he wasn't doing cool stuff. I actually didn't enjoy staying with him, but I had to. And we were paying 40 euros a month rent. So you can imagine it wasn't the best, accommodation. But I watched The Secret, and I remember just crying when I watched it because for the first time in my life, I felt that I have a chance to make something of myself. I always knew I had ambition. I was always willing to work, but I'd never really thought I have a lot of chances, and just seeing The Secret and trusting the people, the speakers in The Secret, that just gave me hope that I can do more with my life and I can live a great life. And after that, I got into Bob Proctor's teachings. Bob became my mentor. It's funny that in my job, I was making about $300, $400 a month. And I remember one day buying one of Bob Proctor's programs, spending half of my salary on it. That was like huge, and I just wasn't used to investing in myself. But I just followed what Bob said, and he talks about setting big goals, and he talks about visualizing your goals, but then he talks about starting straight away. He talks about taking action. He talks about, hey, don't wait for things to be perfect. Just take action and take action. And one of my big dreams was to meet him and to have him, speaking in Romania. And I just started doing everything I could to be able to, let's say, achieve that dream. And just to make a long story short, 1 year later, after that, I was with him on stage in Bucharest, in Romania. I was a huge event, a very stressful event as well. It was the first time Bob was coming to Romania. I was a project manager of the event. We had to, find investors. We had to organize the event. We had to bring the participants. But I can go and talk more about the process. But it involved a lot of persistence. It involved a lot of hard work, taking risks. Sleeping very little and working a lot. But after being with Bob in Romania, having an event with him, I ended up being certified by his company to teach what he teaches, which was one of my dreams. Then I ended up working in his company for a while in Scottsdale, Arizona, which was an amazing experience. And after that, I got into online marketing, affiliate marketing, and just built the communities we were talking about on Facebook, Instagram, to share good ideas with the people. That's what we're pretty much doing. We're sharing positive ideas, useful ideas.
Practical, everything practical, yeah. No, that was, so I heard the long version of that the other day on Skype, and that was one of the reasons why I said, tell us how you get into it, because I thought it was so interesting, and I related to it a lot because you talked about how you watched The Secret, changed my life, changed your life, changed millions of people's lives. So whenever you looked at that, and then you resonated with Bob Proctor, I resonated with so many other ones. You end up going on to work with him. I end up going on to meeting my mentors within The Secret, and it's funny that. You at that with the time whenever I watched it, I was getting maybe less than €800 a month in unemployment check, like an unemployment payment in Dublin, which is one of the most expensive cities in the world to live in. So I was struggling a lot, and I ended up getting into The Secret and got into all this stuff. And it is mad because we ended up going from having this dream or ambition, and I know you said there that you could go more into it, into what it is, and I personally think that, I could go more into mine as well, but everybody has their own path, essentially, but you just have to believe in yourself and believe that it's possible, and a lot of the stuff falls into place.
Absolutely, and one thing we definitely need to do is assess where we are in life. There's a lot of inspiration and, good energy into all the motivational books, the law of attraction, the great teachers out there. I think that the first discussion we need to have is the one with ourselves, and to learn how to get real with ourselves, and maybe go and look in the mirror and realize that, hey, even though there's a lot of inspiration in the books, and even though there's a lot of good ideas, at the end of the day, I need to be aware of the fact that there can be a lot of blockages, a lot of, how Bob calls them, paradigms, a lot of limiting beliefs holding us back from getting what we want. And have this accurate thinking, about where we are, have a look at our results, see what we have to change, kind of like find out those viruses that are inside of us, because I think this is when real change happens. Part of my work is to help people get practical with the law of attraction, because I see a lot of people, they're reading the books, they're watching the videos and so on, but I don't see them making any changes. And that's because those subconscious limiting beliefs are there, they're quiet, and whenever they kind of like try to get out of their comfort zone, the fears come up, they drag them back in the comfort zone. And they're like, yeah, well, you're not ready, read another motivational book or listen to another motivational podcast. And I think before, working with the law of attraction or setting the goals, we got to look at our lives, and understand, hey, I'm coming from a broken system. I'm coming from a broken background, I grew up with a lot of limiting beliefs about money, about myself, about what I can do, about, how great I can become and so on. And just identify some of those limiting beliefs, at least one of them. And then set the goals, then set the metrics, make the visualization. But we have to know what are the limiting beliefs we're working with in order to take new beliefs and implement them until they become new beliefs. I hope this makes sense. It's something very, very important to me. It's something I do every day, almost in the morning, I look at myself because I know there's a whole new level to my game. I know, even if I'm doing well right now, I know there's a next level to my game. And I'm always trying to figure out if there's one of those sneaky limiting beliefs kind of like telling me, hey, you're doing pretty good, stay comfortable. Yeah, it's okay. Keep going like this. No, I want to take it to the next level. What do I have to do? What do I have to do? What can I do? How can I draw more of this infinite power,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I used to be, and a lot of people in the world are afraid to step outside their comfort zone. Whenever I was in my 20s, I made a very comfortable comfort zone around me, and I was afraid to step outside it and do what I actually wanted to do and was passionate about. And now I'm a bit, well, I'm like yourself, whereas the comfort of it is the part that scares me. I'm like, why am I not nervous about what I'm about to do? Is there something wrong? Is this not a big enough goal? Is this not a big enough next step? And I think that once you step out of your comfort zone and you start to see the results, I don't know what you're like, but you become addicted to it. It becomes, you're like, I want to do this more. That's what I feel. Do you ever get that?
Oh yeah, there's a big dopamine rush over there. Whenever we're goal achieving, whenever we're engaged in high performance, it's also biochemical. We want more and we want more, and this is where spirituality is important. To keep us mindful, because some people just want more, but because they don't have the spiritual side, because they don't have the meditation practices that you talk about in the documentary, they might even lose themselves just going for the dopamine rush, instead of maybe going and achieving, but then also being mindful of what you're doing, meditating. That's more of a serotonin type of a pathway in the biochemistry, when we're more mindful, when we meditate, when we're connected. But definitely, it is addictive in a way.
That is actually really well put, the way that you put that, because you're right. Whenever I was in my late teens to my 20s and I was buying houses and buying sports cars, I wanted more and more, but it was all in the wrong direction, and it didn't give me any fulfillment whatsoever. It didn't give me, I was like, at that time it was very much skimming on the surface, but until I adapted in meditation and, journaling and really reflecting on my day, reflecting on what had happened that day and what I had achieved and how I had helped others, that's whenever everything started to change. And we actually, I just had a call earlier this morning. We're just starting to work with like a charity that's delivering food in Dublin, actually, in the Republic of Ireland, that's helping through this crisis at the minute. We're building them websites, we're doing them new branding, we're getting them a donate button on their website that people can donate money. And I was buzzing off that all morning. But even that brings us right up to now, Tiberius. So we're in the middle of a crisis right now, and a lot of people are finding themselves with a lot more time on their hands. How are you dealing with this time yourself, and how are you growing through this period?
Well, first of all, I'm a bit of a student of history, and periods of crisis happen. I was just talking to a friend the other day, and I used to remember I was born in communism here in Romania, just before the communism went down, and my mom used to get up at 3 a.m. actually, and at 4 a.m. she would go and wait in a queue outside with other people so she could get milk and bread for the family, and everything was in portions. You couldn't buy how much you wanted, and she would have to go and wait for like 3 hours in line, get the food, and then she would go to work at 7. But people were still having fun. They would meet with their friends there, you couldn't laugh or jump around or stuff, because of course the region didn't permit that, but they were still, giggling and, telling their little jokes and communicating and interacting. So for me, having this bit of a stoic understanding that things work in cycles, things like this happen and they will happen again, and there are different cycles in nature, just as there are cycles in our human body, just there are cycles in the economy. This pretty much gives me a good grounded perspective of things. And I like to say that while there's a lot of fear going on as an energy, as a predominant energy, there's also a huge wave of positive energy that we can tune into if we learn how to do it. And for me, it's important to figure out how I can serve my communities better, what I can do more, what I can do better, how I can stay healthy, how I can stay in shape, what are the best books I can read right now, what are the best people I can connect with, how can I help my peer group better, and so on. This is basically what I'm focusing on. Of course, there are different concerns, financial concerns. Well, what's going to happen? Well, what should I do with my savings or my money and so on? But I pretty much fixed that in the first days of, let's say, the crisis, so I don't have to worry about that right now. And right now, most of my focus is in staying healthy, in working well, in staying on purpose, and that's pretty much what I do all day right now.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And, I'm grateful for this whole time because we were able to connect. I've got so much done that I've been not putting off, but just haven't got a chance to because I've been so busy. But no, you're completely right. And it is crazy to think of all the stuff that you've sort of been through and your family have been through and experienced really hard times and hardships, and we're able to laugh through it, enjoy each other's company, and have, as you said, a form of fun through that, to see where you're coming from now, to be like an entrepreneur and serving so many different people and become so educated in various different niches within this personal development, food, all that whole space, it's brilliant. And I'm really glad we got a chance to connect. If someone was going to start, if someone is like, I always sort of like to do, I know you're the science behind the law of attraction, but I also like to look and say, if someone is a disbeliever, what is the thing that you could sort of say to that person to maybe give it a chance or give it a go? Is there anything that any tips that you can do for something like that?
Well, the law of attraction can be explained, in very easily, but in practical terms. Now, if someone wants to visualize themselves, changing their body type, or visualize themselves teleporting to Mars, I don't think that that makes sense. But the like attracts like concept, I think that's pretty evident everywhere, And I would just encourage people to give it a try. But when I'm saying give it a try, I'm not saying watch The Secret and then visualize 2 times. I'm saying, look, do a test for the next 30 days and make a commitment. You're going to have to make some changes. It's part of the whole process. And for the next 30 days, choose a topic. Choose an area of your life that you want to improve. Don't necessarily set a goal, but choose an area, maybe your health or your business or money, relationships, so on. And for the next 30 days, do as much as you can to flood your consciousness, your mind, with as much information as possible in regards to that topic. For example, let's say you have some problems with the way you feel or the way you look, or you don't feel healthy, you're not making the right choices. Well, I'm gonna suggest that for the next 30 days you will replace Netflix, the news. You're gonna clear all the junk food from your home, and just replace all of them with good information. Watch the movies on health, get audiobooks on health, books on health, podcasts. Just replace all that time you would usually, like they used to say that people in the US would spend 4 hours a day watching TV, right? So those 4 hours a day, I challenge you to replace them with something useful, that's something that can engage your conscious energy towards that particular goal of health, and just see how things are going to change within the next, week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. See if you can if you can stay a few hours a day listening to podcasts, reading good books on health, and then eat something bad or instant junk food, usually doesn't work. Usually when we direct our energy, our attention into something that's good, then that will lead us to want to make healthier choices. That will lead us to want to work out. That would lead us to different things that are natural to us, by default. It's not that we are not hardwired to stay healthy or to eat healthy. We are hardwired actually to be extremely efficient human beings in a way. We're also wired to be comfortable. However, we're programmed to make bad choices usually. And that's usually what I encourage people to do if they want to see the law of attraction work. And another thing, so that's one thing, flood your mind with as much useful information as possible. And the other thing is to use a law, and this is something that Bob Proctor taught me. It works extremely well in proving, let's say, the law of attraction. It's make some space. Use the vacuum law of prosperity. He calls it the law of vacuum, which means that if you want to attract new stuff in your life, get rid of the old. And a simple example would be like, you want some new clothes. Why don't you give 90% of your clothes away? You don't use them anyway. Or you want better types of relationships in your life? Well, why don't you spend less time in the ones that are not serving you? Even maybe let go of them completely if they're not serving you. And I'm not encouraging people to just, ban their friends or family or whatever. But I'm just saying, if you make room, then what's happening is the universe will start filling that room up because, you're creating a void. And when you're pretty much making room, you're getting out of your comfort zone. When you're getting out of your comfort zone, you're taking some risks. When you're taking some risks, you're pretty much showing some faith. You're showing some belief. So try it out. It works. It works and simple to do, but it's not easy. People want the easy thing. People are like, I want it to be easy. I want it to be effortless. I want it to be. It's not. I was speaking to a friend the other day. He's gonna come on Instagram Live. He used to organize events for 10 years with Tony Robbins, like in his core team, and we're talking about letting go and surrendering. And I'm like, bro, letting go and surrendering and making the magic work, works when you are extremely disciplined, when you don't have fear of failing, when you're persistent, when you're resilient. This is when the grace starts working. But if you're living in fear and you're wishing for things to happen without you want to get out of the comfort zone, the law of attraction doesn't work. Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich talks about the sixth sense. It's the last principle of success in Think and Grow Rich, and he says the sixth sense work when all the other principles in the book are mastered. What are the other principles? Desire, organized planning, masterminding, faith, decision, persistence, right? All those great principles. After they are mastered, then the sixth sense work, then the magic starts happen. Not before.
I'm a pretty positive person. I'm meditating like double the amount of time that I normally do, and I'm also on calls and with my clients going through all this stuff that you're saying. But I got triggered by some of the stuff that you said there. I was thinking, yes, I actually should be doing that myself. I always think that in this industry, and this is why I love it, it's one of the ones that share most with each other, support each other the most, and there's no ever like form of like competition. It's always like, how can we all grow better together? And everybody, you always get, no matter who you listen to or who you speak to, you always get something like to trigger you and say, yes, I actually should be doing that. And I just got that about 3 times there. And the one that I did love is like, if you want more coming into your life, you get rid of the stuff that you don't want to. And I think that is one thing that people actually drop the ball with all the time whenever they're looking. They don't understand why their relationships are bad with their friends or anything like that, and they don't realize how much energy their friend circle is taken up from them. And I've went through that several times in the past, and usually whenever someone comes to me with a problem, that is usually it. Their surroundings is taking up so much of their energy. It's crazy,
Yeah. And many people that read the self-help stuff, but they're not making any changes, they don't like being in the environment they are anyway. They don't like the gossip, and they don't like the bad energy and so on. But at the same time, they're afraid to make the move, and they're pretty much in no man's land. They know better, but they're still stuck there, and that's not a good place to be. I'd rather be ignorant and doing, what I used to do, whatever, watching the news and so on, or just take any risk I can in order to live my truth, because being in between is not fun. I've done it for a while, and definitely not the place to be in.
So how do you get out of that? I've been there as well. I've been there, and I think for me, I love a risk. That's a risk taking is my favorite thing. But for somebody who is stuck in that in between stage, like how do they get out of it? Because there's so many people that I know like that, and I know there's people that listen to this podcast that are like that. So what are the tips to get out of there?
I would discuss two types of personalities there, and this is where people have to see where they are, because there are people who are riskophiliac, they love risk, and there are people who are more riskophobiac, which are they cannot just take risks just like that. It's not what empowers them. I personally, I'll give you an example. When I was 21, I packed my bags. I went on a tourist visa into the US without a job, without any promise, and I got a job in sales. And this pushed me to improve my English. This pushed me to level up my game really, really fast, because, I needed to make money. I was just paid based on commission. And I just did what I had to do. I would do my job. I would make the calls. And in between, I would study. That's all what my life was about. I didn't party, I didn't go, and I didn't, live, let's say, the the balanced life for a while. So I took that kind of a risk. But that's me. I get thrills from risks like this. But for people that are more into incremental changes, what I suggest they do is they start implementing new type of behaviors steadily into their life. For example, let's say you wanna change your peer group. A good way to do that would be to find some areas of your life you want to improve. We're talking about health. Let's say health again. Okay, then go on Facebook and find as many groups as possible that are support groups that talk about healthy lifestyles, healthy exercise, healthy choices. Connect with some friends there. So many groups are for free right now. We just take them for granted nowadays. Everything used to cost money in the past, and go and join that. Then go and find some mentors, find some people that you admire, find some people that already have what you want, and find ways to connect with them, maybe getting to their communities and so on, and do this incrementally. Add things while you do it, and just steadily let go of the old energy instead of spending 4 hours with your friends every weekend. Spend 2 hours, and put that 2 hours on the other group that you're building. Instead of going out for drinks on Friday and Saturday, just go on Friday, and then on Saturday meet up with a support group, or meet up with your community online, or just find ways to connect with new energy while you're letting go of the old ones. That's pretty much my advice.
Yeah, no, that's great. And mine was joining an acting class, but I think that you're completely right. And they have, I also used to swim whenever I was younger. And then there was a masters where it was the same swimming club, but they were all adults, and weren't competitively swimming. I do think it's always look back as well to what you enjoyed doing as a child, and maybe even if it is playing football but your career's over, maybe look at coaching a football team or something like that. I do think if you look into your childhood as well and see what you love to do then, without even realizing it, and then try to adapt that into your adult life, it'll make you also bring back some really fond memories, and also bring you back to a place where you're really authentically happy, and I think that's a really good place to start as well. I think that's great. No, so and where are your communities? I know that I was on the Law of Attraction Live, which is it's an Instagram page. I think anybody that's listening to this that doesn't follow it, go follow it. It's got over 2 million followers. It's got an amazing community with great content and a live video. Is it a live video every day, or what is it whenever you're not in lockdown?
Yeah, every day at 4 p.m. New York time, we do a live every day, and I've just been blessed to have so many amazing people on the lives, just connecting, and some of them even messaging me, "Hey, I want to, someone mentioned that you do lives every day. I want to come on a live." This is just beautiful. Like I was just speaking with Tony Robbins' right hand man uh, an hour ago to do an Instagram live. If you've ever been to Tony Robbins UPW in London, Joseph McClendon, he runs half of the Tony Robbins events. He's the main speaker in the events there, after Tony, of course. And that guy is like a legend. And I attended his events and he helped me so much. And I just got over, I had a chat with him earlier to do a live. And this for me is just amazing how many people are stepping up to bring value in the community, and all the amazing things that can happen just because we have a positive intention, behind what we do. So yeah, we have Law of Attraction Live on Instagram. You'll have a few secondary ones, like Stay Positive in Live is another one. But my passion project is Law of Attraction Live, because this woke me up to the idea that I can do more with my life. And I'm not a fanatic of, hey, wow, Law of Attraction, I believe in the power and the greatness that is inherited in us. I also believe that the system messes us up. We as I said, we were born in a pretty broken system. But I do believe that there are timeless principles that, when combined with the potential we have as humans, we can achieve a lot of amazing stuff. And that just goes beyond the law of attraction. That's just success principles.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that is brilliant, Tiberius. I really, really do. I know. I think it's great that what you do with the community that you have in, and I'm so glad to have been on your live and to be a part of it. And I look forward to seeing what we can collectively do together and how much more we can spread the message, spread the word, just grow the community at all sides, on both sides, our side at the Evolution of Success, and yours as well, because I'm really excited about that.
Likewise, and it's an honor and a pleasure, and I love what you guys do, and the movie and the platform. And I know it takes more than, it takes sacrifice to do things like this. And I know you guys are paying the price to bring something great in the world. Like you said in the beginning, you could have just had sports cars and nice Instagram pictures in different exotic parts of the world, and you're choosing to do a lot of other things that are more selfless. So I congratulate you for that, and always feel free to. I just want to say that I'm always be here to help in any way I can, because I think collectively we can just do better.
Yeah, no, 100%, and I get that and I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I'm just laughing because I'm thinking about sports cars and everything. I came up to Northern Ireland with a carry-on suitcase to see my mum for Mother's Day. I ended up stuck in Northern Ireland for lockdown. Have an apartment now in Belfast and currently have that carry-on suitcase full of clothes I have to wash every twice a week to keep clothes, and they're hanging all around me right now. I'm thinking it's a far cry off an exotic holiday. It's very funny whenever you just sort of put into perspective of how much good you can do right now compared to what was success back in the day. But look, thank you so much for coming on. Tell us just so people find you then. They just on Instagram, Law of Attraction Live.
Oh yeah, we can connect at Law of Attraction Live on Instagram. Also, my personal Instagram is at Tiberius Live, Tiberiuslive. And yeah, I have my website tiberius.live, but it's now it's going into a bit of upgrades. And feel free to reach me. feel free to message me. We always reply on both pages. Any questions, I'd love to connect or answer any questions anyone might have. And I appreciate your guys' time, and was an amazing experience together.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. And all Tiberius' stuff will be linked below. And make sure you definitely check out Law of Attraction Live on Instagram, because it is a live, like 40 minutes to an hour every day with somebody really inspirational, and even possibly more than that. It's brilliant. Credit to you for actually doing it. So thank you so much for coming on, and I look forward to connecting with you in the future.